Frank?
I'm not your way, am I?
No, no, you're fine, thanks.
Right. Standing. Odie, keep your head down. There. All right. Hey, Sandy. We need you. Come here, picture. All right. Frank, are they in a good spot?
Get Sandy.
Okay, hold still. If anybody.
This way, Odie.
Odie, there you go. Good. Smile.
Okay.
Thank you, Frank. All right. Since Ed and Sandy are standing there, can we just get over with the fact that we said we wouldn't say anything about them leaving? But if we do it real fast, we can do it because we have the keys to their car and they can't leave. So could everybody give a big howl for Ed and Sandy? And we're done now. So Ed and Sandy, enjoy whatever you're doing, but don't forget to come back.
The only thing we're disappointed in is the judgment.
Kathy, you ready to start?
Well, hello everybody. Thank you so much for being here today, and it's great to see so many new faces. It's thank goodness the rain stopped and we're all here. Here mostly we're going to talk amongst ourselves and any questions or any comments or anything that you think of that we should be doing or that that we can help the new group of people from Music Street, or if you have specific concerns, we'd like to hear them today. So that's the number one thing we're doing. We're also going to do a brief rundown on some of the legislative shenanigans that have gone on in the last couple months. With the judge has tried to vastly increase his power, which would increase his power over the parks. Barb did a great letter to the editor about that just last week.
It's in the News Herald this morning.
It was in the News Herald. Oh, all right, great.
I better go home and lock my doors.
Do you want to, her letter was really illustrative of the, how it's already pretty well defined, the duties of the judge in regard to Ohio Revised Code 1545, and she laid it out really nicely. Would you like to say anything about that?
Well, the reason I put it in the paper, even though it was a little bit boring, is that we've been hearing a lot about what the judge wants to do to the parks, what the expansion of powers have been proposed, but as a general public, we don't know what it is that probate judges really are permitted or expected to do in the park. So for those of you who haven't read it, judges are supposed to have the responsibility of appointing park commissioners, removing park commissioners. They have to okay land sales. They have to okay donations. And there's something else in there that I don't really understand that maybe somebody else does that has to do with trusts. And actually, it's in the letter if you want to know that. But it has nothing to do with anything that has to do with the actual management of the day-to-day work of the park district. So the reason we put it in the paper is so that people would have a framework of what is it that right now the Ohio Revised Code calls for park districts that were developed either under Ohio Revised Code 1545, which is the county parks, Russell Township Parks, Chester Township Parks, and that's it. And there's only 2 others in the state of Ohio, so under this same thing as the township parks. So anyways, it's just for informational purposes. And so if anybody asks you, you can save that in your wallet if you want, and then you can hand it to them.
The basic premise, the reason that this was necessary is that in the last budget cycle, right just before the House was getting ready to vote on the state budget, a legislator from Cincinnati pushed this bill that was, this amendment that was written by Tim Gradell's office, pushed it in to the state budget. So hopefully it wouldn't have gotten, you know, and luckily we heard about it and put up a big hue and cry. And part of this is to thank everybody. I mean, it wasn't just a small group. It was a large group of people. Called, wrote letters, wrote emails to their legislators saying that this is wrong. There is no reason that something that has nothing to do with the state budget should be added in that would increase the power of a judge over parks. It's just kind of crazy. So it was taken out of the budget bill. That was a great plus. But then it came out back right away as a standalone bill. HB was House Bill 218. So we pushed against that as well, and right now it's still nothing's going to happen on any of that right now. But in the fall we'll be calling in, asking people once again to contact your legislators because it's going to turn up again in the fall. So that was interesting, and then also there was another amendment stuck in that would have allowed parkland to be unitized for fracking, which meant that if a neighbor wanted to put in a frack pad on their property, they could, and they didn't have enough property, they could unitize parkland as part of that. You know, they need to have a certain amount of land in order to frack.
They've already done that in North Dakota.
Yes. But at any rate, they are, we're saying that that's not what parkland is for. And so far, we've been able to push back on that. That's another thing that will come up once again, probably in the fall.
I'm new. I'm one of the music people, street people. So I'm new, so I've never been here before. Do I understand that this group is mainly for keeping green space? Is that what you're all about, basically?
We are for the conservation and preservation of our parks. And yes, that means keeping our parks green, keeping our parks
About
preserved.
developing the parks for community use. I'm like, for instance, Geauga. Every citizen in Geauga, are you for that? I mean,
We have I'm so glad you asked. We have 4 basic criteria that we believe that all of those decisions should be made using those 4 basic criteria. And is, first of all, does it fit the basic, the founding purpose of the park, which was conservation? Does this fit in our general goal of conservation of the land? Is it, thank you, economically feasible? No, I'm glad you brought that. Please, yeah.
You're happy to hear
that. Is it economically feasible? When you look at all the costs, is it truly a good use of our county, our levy money? The third thing is it necessary? Are there duplications other places? Like so many of these things that they're saying they want to move in here, we already have plenty of. You know, do we really need more? If they're not being fully utilized already, why are we adding more? And then the last thing is, has the decision-making process been transparent? And those are the criteria. So if they can look at that criteria, and sometimes, you know, perhaps they find a gorgeous piece of property that they want to buy, and they would like to put a little interpretive center or a nature center there. Maybe that's a use. Maybe that fits their goals of conservation. Maybe they're going to do it in a fiscally responsible way. Maybe it's something that, you know, the people of the area have a need for or have expressed a desire for. If all of those criteria are met or they've been discussed, that's important. Currently, none of those criteria are being
I was going to
discussed.
ask you, what do they say about this? What would Green Bay say about this?
Absolutely nothing.
What would the Municipal Park Commissioners say about this?
They refuse to comment.
I don't know.
Actually, most recently, the judge said that all the publicity about that we have promoted or that has been in the media, he actually told the state legislatures that it's fake news.
Yeah.
Where did you get that?
I think that, Sophie, the welcome Music Street people, the fourth thing that Kathy just talked about, the transparency, where the issue, was it, were decisions made in the open? What we are seeing now is that decisions do not appear to be made in the open. For 1 year and 1 month, we have not been allowed, nobody has been allowed to come to a park board meeting and raise their hand and ask a question or make a public comment. They've removed public comment from the agenda.